please.
Dread it. Run from it. Destiny still arrives.
All the dinosaurs feared the T-Rex.
You are about to die at the hands of the children of Thanos.
Come on, Spider-Man!
Earth is closed today.
We don't want to kill you, but we will.
This is a man. There was no other way.
Welcome on the show, finally.
Yeah. It's because I was saying to Adrian there, I'm like, fuck, we've been meaning to do this for so long, and then it's just kind of, I'd actually forgotten. Well, it was two of you doing it at one stage, wasn't it?
It was. It started off as me and mate Adam Tracy, and then it changed to me and my brother. My brother now is he's hefty into his final year of college, so he had to take a step back.
Yeah. Like, this shit takes a lot of time. Like, if you really want to, like, get out there and stuff, like, you have to be on it all the fucking time. And then, like, because even there's this sound lad, this American guy who, like, promotes the comic book community and stuff, but like, you have to reply to everything, repost everything, and it's just like, fuck, I can't. There's so much. So, like, because I'm actually have to start working with the guy who I actually met through Instagram like 4 years ago. He's from Boston, but just even to find the time to get that stuff done, because we're trying to do comic book reviews, but put it up after the comics have been up long enough that you're not spoiling anything. Because I fucking hate that. I hate when people spoil shit.
So I'm behind on comics now since the little one came along. You know, just a lot of funds are going into that. So I'm trying to keep up.
Fuck, I can imagine.
Your reviews I keep up because I'm desperately in need. Like, I was really enjoying Donny Cates' Venom run, and then I just had to stop. The money or the time to get into. Like, I'm living in, don't know how much you know about Dublin, but I'm living in Balbriggan, like kind of between Dublin and Meath. And the closest comic shop was in Dublin city centre.
Lads, I grew up in Cahir down in Tipperary. Like, there was no comic shops. Like, when I moved here, I think was the first time I was able to get comic books the day they came out, like new comic book day, because I was actually getting my comics from a place in London, a place in Space, because it was cheaper, but I'd get them like a month behind. Yeah. But yeah, my Donny Cates one, because my buddy Dylan, I was working at a comic book coffee shop, and I met Dylan Burnett there. You know, he did Cosmic Ghost Rider and X-Force. And like, we became like, he's one of my best buddies. So fucking, he tells me stuff, and I'm just excited for what's coming. But he's like, you can't tell anybody, so I don't. But it's just like, oh my god, I have to tell someone. But like, there's fucking cool stuff.
He's coming up. He's one of the best writers, I think, going at the minute, Donny Cates.
Oh, he's fantastic. Because I was saying I think literally before he took over Venom, I was saying to someone, there's no great Venom stories. Venom has been in great Spider-Man stories, but there's no, I mean, like, I have every issue of Venom, every one of them from start to finish, but like, they're grand. They're not, they're Venom going, oh, hoo-ha, and like, you're just like, all right, but then Donny came along and like gave a history to them, and like, I think for the first time ever, Venom can stand alone away from Spider-Man. See, because he never really could.
They tried their best with like Agent Venom and stuff, and I just didn't feel that at all, and I found all of the stories are kind of lacking that backbone that Donny Cates brought to it then.
Yeah, I mean, it was more so like, it was very much a Flash Thompson story as opposed to a Venom story. And then Cullen Bunn got involved whenever, because I love Rick Remender. Like, Rick Remender, but then when he got Axis, I was like, what the fuck is happening here? I was so disappointed by that story, because the little things, it was like, Black Widow was calling Tony Iron Man, and he was calling her Black Widow. I'm like, you guys have served together for years. Yeah. You know, you're on an intercom. It's like wrestling when they do like the whole, like, hey, Stone Cold Steve Austin. You can just call him Stone Cold. Yeah. You know, like, it's just
call him Steve.
It's like you do the whole fucking name. But yeah, Venom's thing, like, you didn't get a chance to look over Absolute Carnage, did you?
I haven't, and I've been dying to get my hands on it.
What I would say with that is stay the fuck away from the tie-ins. They do nothing to the main story other than the Venom ones.
Yeah.
This Spider-Man one was pretty cool. But think of it, go into it like Fellowship of the Ring. That's what I would say, because I was just like, but so it's like it's part one of like a bigger story.
Yeah.
But it's cool. Like
another character I found like they haven't done enough with yet is Carnage.
But I don't think there's a lot they can do with him because he's very one-dimensional. Like when he got that ongoing with Jerry Conway, I'm like, I love Carnage, but I don't understand how he can like you're never going to get Carnage issue 25. You know, like villains are very hard to give an ongoing thing for it because then if you fundamentally change who they are, it's not them anymore. Yeah. But like it added a new power level to him and all that, but still like I like Carnage having what the fuck was that? Having sparse appearances. Sparse, is that the word? But like, you know, he's yeah, I mean, I know he was kind of created as like Marvel's answer to the Joker, but there's a lot more to the Joker. Yeah. You know, like fucking Carnage has a very by the numbers serial killer, you know, broken home, killed his parents, burned down the orphanage, doesn't, you know, chaos reigns supreme, all this stuff, but that just, he kind of stops there. Like they did, to be fair, Null gave him like a different thing to go, but he still stayed being Carnage. And I think Venom, you might agree with me, I don't know but Venom needs new villains. Like Venom needs villains that are just him and not kind of taking Spider-Man, like fighting Kraven or so, like give him his own villains. Like, yeah, Null, but Null is like,
it's kind of like because
I found
Marvel wide villain at the minute from what I'm hearing, like kind of everybody's villain.
Yeah, he is. And I think fundamentally there's not going to be a lot of long running appeal for Null because it's I've came to the conclusion recently that comic books is very like booking professional wrestling. If you start the guy at the top, there's nowhere to go but down. But if you look at all the great Marvel villains, Red Skull, Doctor Doom, all them, they've started, let's say, as a singular villain with someone. And even like Norman Osborn's a great example of it. He went for Spider-Man, then after years he became part of the Thunderbolts, and then he became like a big threat. But Null is just thrown there at the top. You look, it happened with the Beyonder too. It happened with the Serpent. They're put up the top, they're introduced, and then it's just, well, if they're so powerful, what the fuck are we going to do with them now?
Yeah.
You know, so I'm liking Null, but it's going to be... Can Null exist in the long term? Or is it like, okay, he has to be either alive or fucking dead? Like Annihilus is another great example of that.
Yeah.
When he start the Annihilation wave, that's like, you know, he's a big deal as a part of some pissed off grasshopper in an alternate dimension. Like he fucking wiped out planets.
But even the likes of Galactus, I find that way. You know what I mean? Like he went his first while, he's very intimidating. He's oh no, and now it's kind of like, well, what do you do with him?
Yeah, you can't like. I mean, it's that kind of thing. Like I did like the way they kind of made him a constant. Like he's not evil. He's just like there. He has to be there. But you know, I don't know there was this. I think it was in a Beta Ray Bill series. They kind of explained why he looks like a giant fucking man to us. Each alien race sees him differently. It's what their mind can comprehend. So there was a cool thing like the Chronobites, they saw him like this big fucking tentacle thing. And I love little things like that. Cause you're like, why, if he's before our universe, why the fuck does he look like a tall man?
How does he just
like,
look
I don't
like
get it.
Some average white dude?
Yeah, you know, like, so it's that little thing. And I was like, okay, that's very cool. Yeah. That he, you know, they explained that. But yeah, man, Donny Cates is doing, his Guardians of the Galaxy run. I don't know. It was like, I expected so much more from it, but it's like Donny to me is kind of like the first 2 seasons of Rick and Morty. Yeah. It was such a high quality. If it's not there, it's just gonna
It's
in
disappointing.
comparison. It doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah, he
but
set the bar. So I see it as kind of the Netflix series, Marvel series. You know what I mean? He set the bar at Daredevil and Jessica Jones, and if we get Iron Fist or Luke Cage, it's going to be disappointing.
Fucking Iron Fist. You mean to tell me if you're raised by monks, they'll allow you to complain? Get the fuck out of here. Like, he was a whiny dick. Put some shoes on. Get a DNA test and go, hi, I'm Daniel Rand. You see here, this is my DNA. This is my company. Fuck, I hated that show.
That annoyed me. That did annoy me. I was kind of like, a DNA test would sort all of this out.
Yeah. And it's like, the thing about Jessica Jones and Daredevil is that it was very smartly written. As in, like, you couldn't go like, oh, well, why didn't you just do that? But Iron Fist, and the Meachums.
It just
shady investments.
They rushed right on so they could get Defenders out.
Wow, Defenders, we're old and powerful. Okay.
That was a disappointment. I thought that could have fleshed out so much more over more episodes.
And it was just boring.
Yeah.
Like the inner circle of the hand did nothing but say how powerful they were. And like, but show us, lads. You know, like, step up. It's like that dickhead who you meet at school. Oh yeah, well okay. Do it then. No, I haven't got the right shoes on, but fucking watch it. Like, get the fuck out of here. Ridiculous. Like, to be honest, I'm over. I couldn't give a fuck about TV and movie adaptions anymore. They're just milking it too much. Like even I don't know how to say this properly because I always say it the wrong way, and I mean the exact opposite of how it comes out. Guardians of the Galaxy was lightning in a bottle. Yeah. They were characters that were untouched, really weren't fleshed out, and it blew up. Yeah, they were now Marvel is trying to do that with the Eternals, a property that is more like a cult following and hasn't, like how many did like run to 8 issues, 12 max, maybe back in the 70s, along with back in the day. But you're just trying, like, they're not interesting. They're not. It's just, and now, we'll tie it back into Thanos, which fine, yeah, he is a mutated Eternal, fine. But like, I don't fucking care. I don't care. Like,
there's so many little characters. Like they have the rights back to Daredevil now.
Mm-hmm. But like, it comes back to the Fantastic Four too. Like, there's been so many adaptions now. You can't. People just like it was with the Amazing Spider. Remember, like, people didn't because it's like it wasn't long enough between the Tobey Maguire one. Yeah. Like, if they're gonna bring Daredevil and the Fantastic Four and do it as like a background character, like that Reed Richards was a scientist for S.H.I.E.L.D. or Ben Grimm was a pilot for S.H.I.E.L.D. And then
look how they dropped Doctor Strange's name in The Winter Soldier.
Exactly. Bring it that they're already there because everybody, well, not everybody, but like most people know how the Fantastic Four. We don't need to see the origin again. Just put them there. Have them there.
Do it. They done with Spider-Man. We don't need the origin. We've seen it too many times.
No, it's like Batman. Yeah. Nobody, if you don't know how Batman became fucking Batman, where the fuck have you been? It's just, we don't need to see it again.
It's one of the most common knowledge things out there.
Yeah, I mean, it is, and it's like, I mean, I get it, but at this day and age, there's nobody who doesn't know. If you have any interest in Batman, you know how he became Batman. Yeah. That's it.
It's weird. Comic fans I find they're a different breed sometimes. It's during the Amazing Spider-Man, they were saying how they didn't need to see Uncle Ben die. They didn't need to hear the line, with great power comes great responsibility. But now they're complaining that it wasn't in the MCU Spider-Man movies.
Lad, you can never. Like, the word I think die-hard fan now is like, it's associated with toxicity. Like, they're never happy or something isn't done right, or as opposed to like the best example I can give of that is like the new thing of the Turtles. I think they're all different species of turtles and like they have magical powers or some shit, and April O'Neil is like a small black girl or something. You know what? That's not our Turtles. Yeah. Our Turtles were the ones on RTE at fucking 8 o'clock in the morning with the pizzas and stuff like that. And this new iteration will never change that. No. It's not going to go like, oh, burn all the old Turtles. Now they're fucking magical. So why can't you just go, this isn't my cup of tea. but it's going to be someone else's cup of tea. Like, what? I don't get, like, even if I've read a comic where I'm like, oh God, I don't go like, this is fucking bullshit. You know, it's like, fuck, all right, you know, whatever. Someone, because like Dylan told me a fucking great story. His buddy, Matthew Rosenberg, he was writing X-Men at the time, and Dylan said, like, there was this fan going spare at your man at the con. Like, you broke up Cyclops and Emma Frost, and she's not supposed to be with Jean Grey. Like, the guy was getting really pissed off. And like, your man Matt's like, well, you know how I know it sticks is because I wrote it and it got published, so it is in canon. And he said the guy blew up. He had to be escorted out of the con by security.
It's like,
that relax.
Yeah,
like, it's a comic book.
Why is that
can, like, literally. So everything can be redone by another writer. Everything.
Yeah, look, we'll get into that now on top of the Avengers. But it was like, you see it, like so many people were given out in Civil War when Peter Parker revealed his identity. I was just showing it was easily.
But what are you going to do? And then people hated that it was retconned. Yeah. But it's like it showed how much Peter believed in Tony Stark, because that's one thing he always, even when he was on teams, people like the Fantastic Four and Black Cat like knew who he was. That was it, because he cares about his family more than anything else. So the fact that he did that showed like he fucking believed in what Tony Stark was doing.
Well, I don't get why people are complaining about the MCU Spider-Man. They're like, he'd never follow Tony Stark blindly. I'm like, he kind of did in Civil War.
He's a kid.
Yeah,
and even
16.
Exactly. He lost his father. He lost his other father figure. And like, let's look at it in psychology, that it's normal to look for a father figure. Yeah. Like, what, you know, like, stop complaining about shit.
The people I find are complaining are too attached to the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. And I'll go what you said a minute ago. I personally despise that Spider-Man, but I will not take away from anyone else who enjoyed it and who was their Spider-Man. Yeah. I'll say, fair enough, that was your Spider-Man. Wasn't mine.
No, and Tobey Maguire, I think, was a great Peter Parker, but he was a terrible Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because he kept taking his mask off and crying.
Yeah.
He said, put your fucking mask back on. You mean to tell me that a train full of people someone wouldn't go, fucking A, that's $1 million photo, here you go. Like, come on. And yeah, exactly. Andrew Garfield was a great Spider-Man, but a terrible Peter Parker.
He was a hipster Peter Parker.
Oh, like, he's not charming. Peter Parker's not charming. Oh. He's not suave. He's a fucking nerd.
He got the girl way too easily.
Yep. Way too easily. But like, that's again, you know, like, it's different iterations. Yeah. You know, it's like,
that's chat for this. There's a Spider-Man edition of the show coming pretty soon, and I'm sure that's going to end up, I'm going to have to stop it being like 6 hours long.
Yeah, man, I could talk about this shit like all day. But yeah, let me know when you want to get going.
I'll give you a chance there to start the show, just to plug your own content and get it out there. So
yeah,
go ahead, speak to the masses or the 30 people that listen every month.
Hey everyone, I'm very happy to be on the show. Finally, we've been talking about this, I think, nearly going back a year at this point now. But I'm Rambling Rob. I talk about comic books, actually all Marvel, on my own YouTube and Instagram. So make sure to check it out. And yeah, very excited to be here.
Yeah, cheers. Make sure to go give Rob a follow and like all the stuff. He's putting out great content every day on Instagram. I'm jealous. He's making me need to up our game on the Instagram with our one post every 6 weeks. Yeah, today's show is all about the Earth's Mightiest Heroes, one of the most well-known teams in pop culture, really. The Avengers. I think people who have no interest in comics know who the Avengers are.
Especially with the movies.
Yeah.
Now, I think they were very, because you have, like, if you look at the thousands of comic book characters that are there, like, you can maybe name 20 that the general public will know. And because of the MCU, that gave the Avengers a household name. Because I remember back in the mid-90s, I think there was an Avengers film, but it was like Sean Connery, Uma Thurman, and I can't remember who the other person was. And it was just like, this isn't the Avengers. But like as a kid, it was like, oh my God, what the hell is this? You know,
it's crazy, the popular, like they're referenced in shows. Like I find them watching, the TV will be on, it'll be some random show on, and someone will reference an Avengers character or the Avengers in general, and it'll be like, it's gotten that big now that TV companies and production companies know that if they can drop a reference, people will pick up on that reference.
Yeah, like they're a brand now, like that, like that A logo.
I got that reference.
Yeah. You know, like that, like it's that. I mean, even you think about it, I know they're not Avengers, but being in Infinity War and stuff, Groot. Yeah. Like you go back 10 years, you tell me that people are going to know who Groot and Rocket Raccoon are, Star Lord. Like, get out of town. Yeah.
And now, look at now, Groot is probably like one of their highest earners in terms of merchandising.
Mm-hmm. And it's like even if you look at I suppose it's. What's that old adage that like there's no bad characters, only bad writers? And you look at that was it Dan Abbott and Andy Lanning? Yeah, like they gave a character 3 words: I am Groot. That's all he said their whole run. And look at it, like it transcended into movies. Like Groot's only really started talking in I think it was Jerry Dugan's one of Guardians of the Galaxy. So that's like, I mean, he appeared like back in Journey into Mystery back in the day, but like it's that, and it's fun, it's cool, but it's, I don't know, I've completely rambled off. hey,
it's one of the things. It's like you said, it's the 3 words. It's turned into a catchphrase, turned into T-shirts and like cuddly toys that have voice boxes inside them.
Yeah,
just like you said, they're a brand now, and anything that becomes associated with the Avengers is going to sell.
Like you even look at it with the comics, like the Avengers name will sell it, even if it only helps the title run a little bit. Like an example of it is Conan the Barbarian's team, Savage Avengers. They're not Avengers. They have no like endorsement or anything like that. But if you put it like Conan's team or the Savages, people aren't gonna pick it up. It's the name that's like Avengers Academy. Like even Thunderbolts a couple of years ago changed to Dark Avengers when it was still the Thunderbolts. But it's like the Avengers itself, isn't it?
It's just the song. It's like you said, like the Avengers, they need that. They're new teams. Put the Avengers name on it. It gets their foot in the door. It gets that first read.
Yeah, because especially in today's comic environment, it's tough to launch a new team and get it as a seller. Like even if you think of like launching a new character, I mean Miss Marvel, like I think that's other than Deadpool before her is like the last successful launch of a brand new character. Like, and the only tie she really has to established ones is that she was a fan of Captain Marvel, and like, she's an Inhuman or a new human, like that as the terms for them. But like, so even starting a new team, because you look, Guardians of the Galaxy were around, I think it was back in the 80s. Like that name has been there that long. Look at the Defenders. Like the Defenders doesn't run long. There's just something about the Avengers name. Yeah.
But since we're talking about comics, I did want to ask now, I'll see what your opinion is on the kind of key, what would you see as the key kind of storylines or events in the Avengers comics?
Oh, good God, how long do we have? First one that would come to mind would be Operation Galactic Storm. It's like a 19-part story from the 90s that had like Thor, Iron Man, Avengers, West Coast Avengers, Wonder Man, Quasar, but it was like that the Kree and the Shi'ar like went to war. And the reason I think it's a key Avengers story is because basically it goes, right, we have to kill this guy.
Yeah.
And it was, Cap being like, we can't. And then Black Knight and Iron Man were like, well, I think it was Iron Man. I haven't read it in a while. Right. No, we got to kill the Supreme Intelligence. It is the only way because he detonated like a nega bomb, which is like their equivalent of a nuclear bomb, and killed billions of people. So that to me was a turning point in the Avengers, because it's like, okay, death. We have to kill. They never do that. You know, that's why there was so much when they didn't want Wolverine on the team, because Wolverine was a killer. He killed people. But Captain America was a soldier. In World War II, you mean he has no kill count? But you know, that would be one of them. Another one is the obvious one, Civil War. Yeah, you know, if we're like we know the reasons for that one.
It's probably, in my opinion, one of the biggest storylines in Marvel Comics.
Oh yeah,
definitely top 5 Marvel comic storylines of all time.
It was, but I think the thing because actually this is something I think about quite a lot, is that if you look at all these world-shattering events that change everything, they only change everything for so long. Yeah, because the norm comes back. Like even now, they did it for years. They had to split down the superhero community, and it brought. But even like you're saying, like Civil War, so much came from it. Like guys like Venom and Bullseye and Moonstone were faces of like the good guys. Venom was a cannibal at this point. You know, like, and it's the Captain America was public enemy number 1 because he went to get, and it's like so many stories came from that. But then it seemed to be a part of like once Siege happened, they got away the Superhuman Registration Act. But there's a story now coming from that. It's like called Outlawed, where like any hero under the age of 21, you need a mentor. Like you have to kind of register. So even we're getting the legacy of that too. But yeah, that split down. That gave us, you know, the Avengers, the Underground Avengers. It gave us kind of the 50 State Initiative. All of those things. You had different Avengers teams. And I don't know if you've read it, but check out the Avengers Initiative series, where it's like they're training all these like B and C listers, and like Taskmaster is a trainer there. And then when Osborn takes over, it's kind of like it changed. But it's a fun way to look at characters who wouldn't really be associated with the Avengers name.
I've haven't read it yet, but that is one that has been recommended to me multiple times now at this stage, and I need to get around to reading it.
It's a great.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it was a great one. Yeah.
Well, you get even like storylines. You have then storylines that were adapted into movies. You have the Age of Ultron storyline, and Ultron has come back so many times.
But and even at that, like Age of Ultron, the comic book was nothing like the movie, and it's just I think we'll touch on this a little bit later. But Brian Bendis, nope, just not for me, and I gotta reel it in because that riles me up. But no, like Age of Ultron was a time traveling thing where it was just. It took the piss with the time travel. Yeah, we'll go back. No, go back further. No, go again. Like I think a really good Avengers Ultron story. It was, I think, volume 3 of Avengers. I think it was like issue, 18 to 21. I could be wrong. But Ultron basically finds this little country, a fictional country called Slovenia, I think it is. I hope that's not the name of the actual country and I'm just getting it wrong. But like he wipes out the entire country, and the Avengers are like, holy shit, you're like, look at what's, and he just wipes it out. And he's like, yeah, well, you know, this is what I want to do. And another great Avengers story is called Rage of Ultron by Rick Remender and Jerome Opina. Yeah, that's a fantastic, more Ultron story than Avengers one, but yeah, but the adaptation, the Age of Ultron, it's just a cool name. But the movie and the comic book story,
vastly different. The only thing they can have is the villain.
And even at that, like the way, like Joss Whedon, the quips, artificial intelligence does not understand comedic timing or quips. Why are you making jokes? Why is Ultron going, oh, come on?
Joss Whedon, that movie it was so problematic. And honestly, I watched it again recently. I done a Marvel watch through during COVID lockdown. I watched through everything in chronological order just to pass the time. It has its moments, but we'll talk about that again when we're further on talking about the movies. But it does have its moments. But like Ultron was so much more fleshed out in the comics when it came to facing the Avengers. And you know, that in terms comes with Hank Pym being
yeah, that really lost the impact. But I suppose you got to look at it like, I suppose, from the MCU standpoint. Hank Pym hadn't been introduced. There was no audience attachment to Hank Pym. And just shoehorning him in the second one, and then with Ultron, they had to build it from somewhere. But yeah, Hank Pym, like, he created Ultron in the comics out of complete insecurity.
Yeah,
he was a dude who could talk to ants with like a beautiful girlfriend he didn't think he deserved anyway, and he's beside a billionaire, like a gamma monster, a god, a living legend, and and then he created arguably their worst enemy.
Yeah,
but all out of insecurity. And as much as Ultron, like, he did as much as an artificial intelligence can, I'm speaking like I know about it, my degree in artificial intelligence, wanted just a family, wanted his father, and that kind of brought in the twisted side of it as the stories went on, where, like, it's like we were saying the Rage of Ultron one, where it's like he was just a child crying out for his dad. You know, we lost that with quippy Tony Stark, who was, you know, like, yeah, you're right. It has its moments, but, you know, not my favorite MCU movie.
No, it'd definitely be near the bottom for me as well.
Yeah.
But like with the Avengers as well, then comics, more storylines. There's lots of you have Siege that you mentioned previously. Mm-hmm. You have Disassembled. Yeah, which is a fantastic storyline. Then you have
it kind of and it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, you see, it was a thing like showing that the Avengers, like, you know, that's one of their members was like one of the worst, did the most damage to the team. You know, with the Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. And so, again, talking about that going for Scarlet Witch, you have, I know it was again more of an X-Men all Marvel storyline, but you have House of M.
House of M, yeah. And there was another one, Blood Ties, from back in the early 90s. And, that one, I remember getting the parts of that, and it was a lot more there was a lot of political stances in that. It was like, well, we're part of the United Nations. We know what's going on in Genosha. The United Nations is saying you can't go in. And they're like, but why? What's happening is wrong. And it showed kind of the difference where, threads probably picked up on in Civil War. Captain America didn't want it because it's like, well, the government dictates who the bad guys are. Yeah. If we register. And Blood Ties, because the X-Men and Avengers don't really overlap that much. And that did kind of come from, that's mentioned in Civil War. Emma Frost, the kind of thing, says to Tony Stark, it's like, well, where were you when our babies were burning? You're like, where were you? And that going on to Avengers versus X-Men and that kind of thing.
It just there's so many, like you said, how long do we have? There'd be so many different. We have 10 different shows if we were to go over all the vital storylines. Yeah. Like recently, then you had not really recently. First, let's touch on there's Secret Wars again, a whole Marvel event, but again the Avengers were come in place as well. Yep. You have then the Avengers of the Ultimate Universe. You have the Ultimates, which
that was. I mean, that gave us the Avengers movie because, I mean, I'm not a fan. No, not a. It's not that I'm not a fan. I tend to not get stories that are outside the main continuity. But without the Ultimate Verse line, we wouldn't have the movies we have today because it made them real worlds, gave him, it was started, I think, in 2000, 2001. So there was a lot.
It's why, like what you said about Bendis, I will always have a slight little pass for him. The first comic I ever collected was Ultimate Spider-Man 1 in 2000. I was 6.
Oh yeah, that's cool, man. But again, it's like we were chatting before this. It's like, I'm not gonna shit talk something that someone else likes. It's just, it's not for me. And it's not that it's bad. It's just like, it doesn't appeal to me. I'm a diehard old school continuity, and that's what I love,
Me, the Ultimate Universe, I loved it. And then seeing in Secret Wars when they were mixing together the universes, then when everything was colliding, just for me to see Miles then becoming part of the main continuity, it was a big deal for me.
Yeah, because then looking back, because all of these events feed into something else generally, and I think maybe Secret Wars was just a story to basically get the characters that were bigger than the Ultimate Universe, let's say. And Miles had become that.
Yeah.
And bring him in because it's that attachment, that link.
Yeah.
To the and that's what, and I actually love, I got some Miles stories. Again, when he joined 616, that's when I started getting the Miles stories.
Yeah.
You know, so, but yeah, it's the magic of Spider-Man again.
Yeah.
You know, like trying to go to school, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, he was actually on an Avengers team, a short-lived Avengers team for a little while before they became the champions.
Yeah. It's another, like, Miles is going to have his own episode of the show. So I'm going to have to do an episode for Miles, an episode for the Spider-Man. It's so vast. I'll have to do one for Ben Reilly. He's my favorite clone. A bit unpopular opinions of some, but
Scarlet Spider, man, that costume is sick. I love it. I don't care what it makes a hood. Like, you know how many times I was like, fuck, I want to get a blue hoodie and put like a spider on it.
Halloween, you know? 2 years ago, I went as I mixed together Scarlet Spider with the Punisher, and I got a white hoodie and done a Punisher skull with spider legs coming out of it, and I had the black morph suit with the white eyes.
That is awesome. That is so cool.
It was probably my favorite Halloween costume ever, and it was put together myself.
That's sick. Like that, because I know, yeah, people, the Clone Saga, yeah, but I don't think, like, it was making money. So, like with anything, they're going to chug it out to the point where it doesn't make money anymore. But it gave us, like, Kane. I think Kane was a fantastic character because even his road to redemption, wanting acceptance. You know what? This is about Avengers. I'm going off Spider-Man territory, so I'm going to reel it a little bit now.
Once I get started, then there'll be no stopping. Like in comics, like now, you had that's the widely criticized Civil War 2.
The artwork was beautiful, but I think the problem with Civil War 2 was, one, it didn't need to happen. Two, it was because Captain America Civil War was coming out.
Yeah.
But also it was this thing to force the Inhumans on us because the MCU couldn't have the mutants.
Yeah.
The Inhumans, I like them to a degree when it's like, you know, they're in the background, they're not front and center, because you can't be related to the Inhumans. I'm not from a royal family. Yeah. You know, I don't get the hierarchy of the king and the fucking queen. I don't get it.
Which I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. handled that a lot better than the Marvel as a whole, because it made the Inhumans a bit more relatable. It was just regular people that were carriage and
but it's like, it's that thing, it was forced on us. Like, I don't know if you watch wrestling, but like, I would put the Inhumans for a time were the Roman Reigns of Marvel. It's just, no, you like him, and then you'd new humans, like even that Avengers event Infinity was a vehicle to make, you know, put up the number of Inhumans or the new humans that were there, you know. And actually, that's you could argue that's a key Avengers storyline too, because Hickman put the Avengers on the galactic map, you know, like they with the builders and stuff like that.
Like even that, and then you can't miss out on talking about Infinity War then as well when it comes to the whole Infinity Saga when it comes to Avengers.
Yeah.
Which was, again, a key, one of the best events out there, one of the events that sticks with you, and stuck with the MCU, obviously, because they decided to roll with it as their big movie after 10 years.
Yeah, you know, and because I suppose we could argue that that's more so a key Thanos story as opposed to an Avengers one, because like it involved everybody. But the Avengers, like, what I think a lot of people forget is that the Avengers wasn't always a top selling book for Marvel. Like at one stage after Onslaught, like they outsourced their Avengers like to Jim Lee, and they went to a Counter Earth because it was just like, what do we do with these characters? So to look back now and think like Marvel had kind of pushed Avengers and Captain America and Iron Man into their own little pocket universe, you're like, that's unbelievable. Then to only bring them back like a year later, like, hey, oh, sorry, like, come on home, you know.
It's there's so many different webs that have spanned from the comics that I'm probably forgetting myself now when it comes to the Avengers. But in line with that, the lineup is something that's changed vastly throughout the years.
Oh, lad. Like, yeah, it was. You're nobody unless you've been on the Avengers.
Yeah,
you know, that kind of way. You know, which I don't agree with, but I mean, there's only like a handful of characters who, like, you could even with Axis, there was like Doctor Doom's Avengers, and you could say Carnage technically was an Avenger. I won't, because it's like, nope, you know. But like, you have, and that OG lineup is so. But then you see there's the other continuity that Bendis brought in the Avengers 1959, which was a team before our Avengers. Or then there was the Avengers 1 million BC.
Yeah.
But again, it's attaching that name. Like, I don't think over a dinosaur burger, they're not going to be like, hey, lads, let's call ourselves the Avengers. That's a good name. You know, like that's, but yeah, the OG, like what was it was, and yeah, Captain America was not a founding member of the Avengers. He was an honorary founding Avenger. It was Hulk, Wasp, Ant-Man, Thor, Iron Man. Those five. Right? That was it. The Captain America didn't show up until like I think it was issue 4, and they kicked the Hulk left in issue 2. He's like, I'm out. I don't need this shit. I'm out of here.
But fair enough, back then, how much they built the Hulk up, did he really need a team?
Yeah, because it comes like, so, and the Avengers with the lineups, like if you Thor, Hulk, and Iron Man on the same team, what villain? You know, like who's going to defeat them? And if they do, what's Captain America going to do?
Yeah.
Hey, like, get out of here. It's the Justice League paradox. You know, like it's, if Superman's on your team and he gets beaten, Flash, what the fuck are you going to do? Like, I'm going home. Like, Superman just got beaten. I'm going to go spend time with my loved ones because we're fucked. You're like, I'm out of here.
That. Like, even like you seen in Batman versus Superman, like Superman and Wonder Woman are going head to head with Doomsday, and Batman's just sitting in the car, just hiding some lights for the fight.
Fuck, you know, why am I even on this team?
The one I liked about the Justice League movie was they Bruce Wayne openly admitting, like, what's your superpower? Like, I'm rich.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think we should stay away from the topic of like Batman, because that's another one even in itself. Like, talk about a polarizing character. But like, yeah, the lineups have changed. The power levels have changed. Like, I mean, there was a great, like, it was in a Punisher Warzone story. It was tying up kind of Greg Rucka's run, I think it was, where like Spider-Man, because Punisher had been framed for killing cops, which obviously, you know, he didn't do. Obviously, you know, frankly, he wouldn't do it. But and Spider-Man goes like, why haven't we handled the Punisher? Why? And Iron Man's like, because essentially he's not on our tier. Like, we handle the big threats, you know.
It's a perfect person to be asking that question. To Spider-Man, who likes to handle every threat. Yeah, and to his detriment. You know, it's like, Peter, relax, man. Yeah. You can't get everybody. Let the police earn their paycheck every now and then. Just actually, do you ever hear that group called Code Blue? They're like cops who are designated for taking down superheroes, but like, it's a joke. They debuted in like an issue of Thor, and like, you know, they've names like, you know, Shotgun and T-Bone. I don't know, but it's those ridiculous names. You're like, why do you exist? Like, what? But you know, that again, we're getting sidetracked here. Yeah. But yeah, the team, the lineups. I mean, because it's like, this might be an unpopular opinion, but for years I didn't like Hawkeye. I just thought, like, but I suppose it was the kid in me, like, he's not cool, he shoots bows and arrows, you know. Well, not bows and arrows, he shoots arrows. But like, I think the turning point for me with Hawkeye was there was an issue of Avenging Spider-Man where like they teamed up, and it was one of the lads from the Serpent Society. It's not a big villain, but Peter actually got pissed off with, he's like, why are you constantly firing arrows? Will you just stop? And he goes, the moment I stop, I'm just another guy. I'm on a team with gods, and then like, I have to be the best, or I'm just another person. Yeah. And I was like, okay, cool. All right, kid. I honestly, I still didn't like Hawkeye much until I done that recent watch through of all the Marvel movies in chronological order, and I grew an appreciation for him. Like, in Endgame, on first watch when I first seen him in the cinema was when I first started to say, okay, he's not so bad. I was seeing him as Ronan. I was like, okay, that's pretty badass. Why haven't you been doing that all the time?
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, and I think because touching on the lineup story, like when he was in the Avengers West Coast, the West Coast event, and he was kind of the leader there, he had a chance to really shine, because like again, to me, I don't see why you would have Hawkeye on a team with Thor.
Yeah. Like Hawkeye shoots an arrow, hits the bullseye. It's all impressive until Thor blows it up with lightning.
Yeah, like, oh, Hawkeye, do you have this? Like, oh, it's Thanos. Hey, Hawkeye, shoot him with one of your special arrows.
It's just, it was, well, like when you look at it, when it's written well, it gives the everyday person someone to relate to on the team.
Yeah. And I like that. That's the thing. I mean, the feelings of like inadequacy, like insecurity, we've all had them. Like if you've, I'm not generalizing everything, but like, if you played sports or like if you're trying to make a group of friends, like there is all those feelings of like, or, the boy band, which one am I? Like if I'm not funny, what do I have? If Jerome can hit those high notes, what do I do? Like that kind of thing.
Well, it's like, as much as it was relatable, it's always the worst thing. Now, when you look at your group of friends, just hoping, I hope to God I'm not the Hawkeye.
Yeah, like, fuck. Like, I'm the Hawkeye.
I am the Brian McFadden of this group.
Oh, Jesus, I haven't heard that name in years. What a knob.
We'll bring a little relevance to the Irish chat.
What do you think is the worst lineup of the Avengers?
Oh, I don't like Hercules. I'm gonna put it out there right now. I'm not a fan of him. He doesn't appeal to me.
Okay.
I think
would you say the kind of 90s one when they had the jackets and like the tiaras, like that was like, why you even got brown leather jackets with a red Avengers logo on it? Like,
it's like, is like Wolverine your stylist now, or like what's going on?
Yeah. So is there is it like any lineup with Hercules, or just is there?
He was on the one recently. It was only a couple of years back.
Mark Wade's one.
Yeah, did not appeal to me. I picked up 2 issues and then just stopped. I removed it from my pull list. I was like, no, this isn't for me.
No, I mean, it's I suppose like the appeal of the Avengers definitely can be the lineup. Like it's down to who's in it. If they're like, I think was it the early 90s, like Gilgamesh, one of the Eternals with like who wore a cow head. Like I think it was Avengers 300. It was like Dr. Druid was on the team. You're like, no, like I don't want to get this. Like it's I suppose it's down to, I mean, that's a pretty, the worst lineup is very much a matter of opinion, because it's down to,
I don't want to bash anyone's favorite lineup on here. Like, like you said, it's art, it's subjective.
Yeah.
Like for me, I don't like Hercules. It could be someone's favorite character.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, like because he's on the Guardians of the Galaxy now, which is pretty fun.
Yeah,
he's in a relationship now with Marvel Boy. Novar. I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but like, yes, Hercules. I think again, he's one of those. I haven't really, like, I got a couple of it because I like obscure characters, and he was a part of Spider Island, so I want to get those tie-ins and stuff. But I think it comes down to the writer having, like the right run. Yeah, with Hercules, or the right voice. And there was another point I was going to make now, and for the because it's like Deadpool. Deadpool like debuted in 1990 and didn't really have his ongoing series until 97, and it was more so Joe Kelly who gave him that like fourth wall thing. He didn't really become the Deadpool we know until like 7 years after his appearance. He was just, so it takes a while, it can take years.
Like at first he was just a copy of Deathstroke until then, 7 years after, now, in a parody.
That opinion, I'm not gonna lie, twists me tits a little, because it's like it's only in the name and the costume. He's, as his character, he's nothing like Deathstroke. You know, like that.
Deathstroke, I never read much into him. I'm going from the Rob Liefeld interviews of now and basically saying, yeah, it's a parody of.
But sure, look at all of his characters. Again, not to knock him, but it's like they're all either variations of Deadpool, Wolverine, or Cable.
Yeah. I can't even say not to knock him, considering I done like a whole YouTube video knocking him.
But yeah, I mean, gee, we're really getting derailed from this.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Deadpool was on the Uncanny Avengers, you know, and that was a cool character exploration of him, because as much as he's a lunatic, all he wants is to be accepted, you know, and kind of like one of the team. But yeah, sorry, that's where I derailed it even further there.
What would be your kind of dream or favorite line of the Avengers? It doesn't have to have happened already.
See, I don't know. Like I'm really enjoying the run of Jason Aaron's one, but I mean, I think, and this is going to sound like very contradictory, but like, it's not so much the Avengers I'm a fan of as the characters who make up the lineup, if that makes sense. Like the Avengers, I think like it's, you know, they're just all these powerful dudes, all these resources and blah, blah, blah. It's kind of like the X-Men. Yeah. I'm not a fan of the X-Men. I'm a fan of the characters that sometimes make up the team. Now, what Hickman is doing with it has completely changed my opinion on it. So with the Avengers, I mean, I'd like to see some of my favorite characters in it, but, you know, would they be Avengers level? You know what I mean? Like, I'd like to see Darkhawk get a chance on it, but it would have to be like a cosmic Avengers team to warrant him being there. Like, I do think the Uncanny Avengers that Remender had, I loved that roster. But again, the power levels were insane. You'd Havoc, you'd Rogue, you'd Thor, you know, but then he created a credible threat in the Red Onslaught when Red Skull got Xavier's brain, you know. But I mean, I don't know. That's something like a dream lineup. Then you'd have to look at like who would they be fighting and anything with Darkhawk. I love Darkhawk and I want to see more Darkhawk.
So that me, it's anything with Spider-Man. Just
yeah, Spidey. It was cool seeing him take up Avengers membership. Yeah. That was, and like he even, because they touched, it was great when he was the superior Spider-Man in it. Yeah. You know, it's like, okay, you've become a dickhead, you're off the team. And then like even, you know, when they came back, it's just like, you know, are you cool again? Do you want to, you know, and that's, you know, it's because Spider-Man was always kind of a solo guy. He had a friendship with the Fantastic Four as opposed to like a membership. Yeah. And then he would step up every now and again. But yeah, Spidey, you got to have Spidey. Or maybe even the Scarlet Spider on instead. He became a new warrior, for Christ's sake. Ugh.
It's like, to me, I'd always have the original, well, in my opinion, the Trinity. The Cap, Thor, and Iron Man. Yeah. I mean, they're fundamental to it, you know, because even the history they have, the fact that they keep going towards it, and even I like the little callbacks to it every now and again. Like Tony might say something, and it's like, man, we really don't need to have that conversation. Yeah. Like we've gone down that road, you know. I'd have Black Widow on my team as well. Huh? See. Build my team for different kind of things. I'd have Black Widow there for anything that you need stealth for. I think Black Widow is the one to go for.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I see again, like because of the tier of the villains they would fight. I'm not saying that Black Widow is a bad Avenger. I'm just saying against the likes of Thanos, Kang, and them, like she would be a leader of the secret Avengers, the covert ones, you know. But like, if she gets caught, she's screwed. Like, yeah, they gave her like the War Widow armor. Yeah, but that, you know, like it's just, I would think of it as in the right iteration of a team. Like, again, what's she going to do? Like, if Iron Man's on it, like he has a stealth suit. Yeah, fair. You know, but not, and I'm not trying to take away from your lineup, but that's the way I would look at it. You got to put the team based on the skills, like Hawkeye, Ant-Man, Black Widow, the characters like that on like a covert Avengers team, I think like Moon Knight, and they touched on that with Secret Avengers.
Yeah, them as like a street level Avengers team, and then you have your higher ups, your cosmic level Avengers team.
Yeah, like what the hell is Black Widow going to do if everybody's been knocked out and Thanos is standing there?
She tries to do something.
Jesus Christ. Yes, I will use my sexuality to bring down old Purple Chin.
No, I think she's a little too alive for his liking.
Yeah.
He has a type, Thanos.
Yeah, Thanos and his necrophilia.
Yeah.
Oh, Purple Chin.
Jesus Christ. I put, you seen yourself there, I put a tweet out and I put it on Instagram looking for, other people's opinions on their dream kind of Avengers lineup. So we're going to break down some here. Let's see. Let's go from Instagram. Your friend there, Ricky77.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
His team there that he picked was Captain America, Thor, and Iron Man. Like we said, the Trinity.
Yep.
Black Panther, Beast, and Hellcat.
Yes, this is not like, because I even said that I was like, Hellcat was.
It's Beast and Hellcat for me are they're very odd choices.
Beast, yeah, I think Beast because of his brain, like he can hold his own in a fight. Not saying that Hellcat can't or she doesn't have brains, but it's just, to me, it's like it's a mixed match of different eras. I think as well with that question, it comes down to what's the role of this team?
Yeah,
But yeah, that again, like you said, the Trinity, you can't. It would be very rare, and you could argue now the quadrilogy. You could argue Captain that Black Panther is a part of that now. Yeah. Because he's leading the Avengers now in the current run. Yeah, Aaron's run.
Let's do 1 second. I'm going to turn on this light. I didn't realize how dark it got.
Yeah.
All right, Irish time getting dark now at 5:05. I have another one here from Leonard.Mick. He's a friend of the show for a while, another Irish podcast that do comics. He's saying that it'll always be for him Cap, Thor, Hulk, Iron Man, Widow, and Hawkeye because of the movies. But he also did put he said I would also love a why is Hawkeye even there team of Thor, Sentry, Hyperion, Blue Marvel, Vision, and Hawkeye.
Yeah, but why is anybody that's it's
as an overpowered team.
Those guys on a team, forget about it. There's no conceivable way. Well, no shenanigans. I think we mentioned before, the wrestling and comic book writing are hand in hand. And if you've someone like the Undertaker, if he loses, there's usually shenanigans involved. So a team of powerhouses like that, you're talking magic, you're talking maybe they're in an alternate dimension where their powers are all messed up. Because I know in Weird World, Hyperion's powers don't really work as they normally should. But that team is just all right, here, let's just
was there to cook them lunch.
Yeah, Hawkeye, we're going to take 4 frappuccinos. Yeah. Okay, we'll be here. We'll be done in 5 minutes. Come on, Kang.
Yeah, put your arrows away. What are they going to do?
Yeah, actually, the Hulk needs a toothpick. That kind of.
That just sounds like a team where Hawkeye would be bullied relentlessly.
Yeah, the jabs would be unreal. Yeah. But I kind of think while that's a cool lineup power wise, it also takes away the fun of it because what villain could beat that team?
What villain is mental enough to even try go against them?
Well, you could have a Nihilus. Yeah, because a Nihilus he just wants silence.
Yeah.
I suppose with some of the villains, Donny Cates is in, who could probably take that team would be Cosmic Ghost Rider because you've magic and you have the power cosmic.
Yeah.
But again, how anybody that comes back to the Cosmic Ghost Rider is such a powerful character. Beating him's a big deal.
Yeah.
So it's because, but that will come back because if you look at Ghost Rider, he took on the Hulk and he walked away during Planet Hulk. He's actually, do you know what? Your vengeance is justified.
Yeah.
I'll leave you alone. Like that like he took down Hulk and arguably his most powerful.
Yeah.
You know, a penance stare to the century, because Bob is kind of teetering on the cusp of insanity at the best of times.
Yeah.
Although now himself and the Void have, made up. And now they're the Ventry. They're not the Ventry. It was just a stupid way to try to amalgamate the names.
Onto Twitter, we have at Jared Webb 1 on our Twitter. His team, he has Janet Von Dyne, the Wasp, Tigra, Iron Man, Dr. Voodoo, Iron Fist, and Nightcrawler.
Okay. That's a cool, different dynamic of power levels, and I like Doctor Voodoo because for a time he was like the Sorcerer Supreme, and actually Rick Remender did a great 5-issue series of Doctor Voodoo. Himself and Doom end up taking on Nightmare. Very cool. That's a cool lineup. I like that. There's a lot of because there's no one on that team was like, well, why are the rest of us here?
Yeah,
that's a cool. But I like that team.
Geek to Me Radio on Twitter have Captain America, Wasp, Black Knight, Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau's version, She-Hulk, and Vision.
Yeah, I mean, again, pretty even. Pretty evenly tiered. Like there's no stupid power level there that wouldn't say, because I think that's. Yeah, I don't know. When you look at the team, you got to justify people, the reason for them being on it. I mean, arguably, I don't see why Thor is on he doesn't need a team.
He has his Warriors anyway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, Hogan, Fandrill, and good old Volstagg. But yeah, because even when you said Captain Marvel there, like if it was, because Carol's power levels now are insane. Monica Rambeau, who she's going by Spectrum, I think now. Like she's really changed. Her names have changed so much. Photon, Captain Marvel, but like, yeah, she's pretty powerful, but not the tier of like if you've Captain Marvel and Thor on a team, like forget about it. If they can't take him down, go home, lads.
Yeah. We have Joshua Sumter, who has he has the Trinity here. He has Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor. And he has Blade, Doctor Strange, and America Chavez. Yeah, see why would Blade need to be there? And again, not knocking the team. I'm just looking like Blade. What can you have America serious power like Doctor Strange? Blade's cool. I like Blade. Blade's doing well on the current run of Avengers, but like on that team. Is there a point? Hey, Blade, how do you kill a vampire? That. But yeah, it's just, again, it's the balance of the power level. But it's like, you're going to want to see your favorite characters on it, but you don't kind of think of like balancing it out. Yeah. Nobody wants to go like. Yeah, look at the team I said. I wasn't thinking of balancing it. I was just thinking of favorite characters on it. Yeah. Yeah, but that's the fun of it too, because like you can argue, well, logically, thunder gods don't exist, so you have to look at that side of it as well, I have one more here. I'm just going to get onto it over on TikTok, which I've started trying to do. We have the Trinity again: Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. Then we have Black Panther, Hulk, and Spider-Man. Yeah, as much as it pains me to say, like, why is Spidey there? Yeah. Arguably, why is Captain America there? Because like, I think Captain America can get away with being on some teams due to the leadership aspect. Yeah, I would, but then you look at having Black Panther on because he's a king, and like he's a strategist. It's that. But again, it's the dream lineup. Logic kind of doesn't take a place for it. Like nobody wants to go, well, what can Spidey really do on that team? But yeah. But yes, that's all there is some interesting lineups there, and I'm looking at your take on it again. My mind was straight away went to my favorite lineup rather than thinking of what needs to be done. Lad, like I think that like there was a character appeared in a recent issue of Spider-Man, and I went mad because I'm looking logically,
as in like down who the emissaries and so far, and I was like, no, you gotta do that. You know? Like that's so I think arguably far too much about these things.
I'm the opposite. I'm pure heart rather than head when it comes to these things. Then we're going to quickly touch on, because I'm running out late in time and nearly time for the little one's bedtime. Quickly touch on you have the TV adaptions, which mostly you're looking at the animated versions of the Avengers, which let's be honest, much it pains me to say, in terms of animation, until Into the Spider-Verse, Marvel has just never really could hit them levels DC hit.
Exactly. I 100% agree, and I'll defend Marvel like to my last breath. Just I would like the way I look at Marvel and DC. Marvel are my football team.
Yeah,
and just I have their back no matter what.
Yeah,
but in terms of quality of animation, Spectacular Spider-Man and Earth's Mightiest Heroes are the two TV shows. But even at that, DC just knocks it out of the park. Well, used to with their animated stuff. Yeah,
like their animated movies. Like we're going to a different time. One of my favorite animated movies after Into the Spider-Verse is Under the Red Hood.
I haven't seen that one now. I actually only saw Mask of the Phantasm from start to finish, like last year.
I'm behind on a lot as well. I think Under the Red Hood and Flashpoint are the only two I've seen up to now.
Yeah. But I get the animated again, like it's Avengers. Like they tried that one, Avengers United We Stand. It would have been on Fox Kids for us back in the day, and like they had the ridiculous armor, and there was Tigra and Wonder Man and Hawkeye on it. Like, and it's Earth's Mightiest Heroes, I'd say, was the best one, and because it really added like story and interconnecting series and stuff.
I do wish there was more that they've done with the Avengers in terms of TV, but again, they put all their focus to the movies.
Yeah, $1 billion property now, like that's not going to go anywhere.
Sorry, I just had to grab the charger for the laptop. As much as I love my MacBook, it goes dead so quick. Yeah,
I was actually thinking that too, because I might have to pop to get my charger, but I think I'm good for another little bit.
We'll touch on now. Let's the MCU. Let's talk about the big boy. You have, which is still in my top 5 MCU movies of all time, the first Avengers movie, Avengers Assembled. I just watching it again recently. It's the nostalgia of it now. Even looking back, it's a movie that's still recent enough, but has nostalgia attached to it already.
Well, it was like that magic of seeing like the Avengers on a screen together.
A scene of them all in the circle in New York, and it's just
whoa, this is actually happening.
And like even Loki as a villain, Loki as a character himself deserves his own episode of the show. It's just they've just even in the MCU how they fleshed him out and how they've made changes to him, and just his character development as a whole, even throughout that one movie, was amazing.
Yeah, and like they didn't overdo him. Like he played to his skills. Loki knows what he's capable of, and his temper got the better of him when he went to the Hulk, ironically enough, and he got 7 shades of shit slapped out of him.
It was again one of my favorite scenes in that movie, just the puny god scene.
Yeah,
Avengers 1, it kind of, while you had Iron Man and Captain America and Thor, them movies kind of built the base for Avengers. I think Avengers was perfectly placed in its position in release. I think if you had released it any later or any sooner, you could have ended up where the DC universe is now, and it could have...
Exactly. That's what I think, like, kind of hindered the DC ECU, or whatever the hell, like DEC, I don't fucking know.
DCEU, I think it's called.
They tried to play catch up instead of doing their own thing. Like you're always going to get similarities between DC and Marvel. It's just the way it is. That is it. Like, it's left or right. That's what's going to happen. Yeah,
it's the WWE, WCW back in the day. It's
exactly. But and like WCW were its own thing, WWE were its own thing, and like but DC could have given comic fans something else to go to, but because they rushed into Justice League, and it's like, oh, here's Wonder Woman, here's Flash, here's Cyborg, here's all these things, and here's a man who's CG to look like Liam Neeson, but it's actually Kieran Hines, and they're using boom tubes. that they could have rechanged that. They could have changed that name and boom tubes.
It's one of them things that they could have done, like where Marvel and the Avengers, they introduced the Trinity in their own movies. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows who the Hulk is. We had the Incredible Hulk, which they're saying is part of the MCU now because Tony appeared in the post credits.
Yep.
The only two they didn't introduce was Black Widow and Hawkeye, which don't need an introduction movie. They were
because they were there like as background characters because arguably at that point they couldn't support their own movie.
Yeah,
you know, like it's
like Hawkeye appeared in Thor and Black Widow appeared in Iron Man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And like the strength of Avengers was we knew them and we kind of knew who the characters were. They were fleshed out when they came together.
Yeah. So
you know, and that's because Marvel seemed to play the line. But because the thing is, Marvel had everything to lose when they started the MCU. Like I can't remember where I read it, and it might not be 100% accurate. But when they went to Paramount for Iron Man, I think they weighed up the merchandising rights against, let's say, the popularity of the movie. That's like, if this bombs, Paramount will get all the merchandising rights and the money from it.
Yeah.
So they had to and I think as well, the difference between the Marvel movies now or comic book movies now is that they're written and directed by people who are fans of the medium, as opposed to like producers who were like, okay, Spider-Man, let's make him money. You know, like that. Now, I know Sam Raimi's first two, I loved them. And that's it. There was only two. There was only two Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. I will not hear otherwise.
Yeah, I'm not going into. If I start talking about the Sam Raimi movies, I'll be here all night. Let's talk. We touched on it earlier. Then we had, in terms of the first one, it was a case of, in my opinion, the bar was raised too high with Avengers Assembled, and then when they tried to do Age of Ultron, it just didn't come anywhere near the heights of the first one.
No. You know, but it's that whole sequel thing too. You know, like they had time to build up Avengers. Like, okay, that was popular. Let's get the next one out. And I think it became, I don't know, maybe in my older age, I'm getting grumpier, but I hate constant quipping. Lads, you're hitting a Nazi sympathizer base. This is not the time for jokes. This is serious shit. And it just, the sequel went to Joss Whedon's script. It's like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
See, I like quips being a Spider-Man fan, but like you said, when it's constant, no.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Black Widow's not funny.
No.
She's a terrifying character. That, like, the shit she's pulled off.
Yeah.
No. You know, like, Iron Man's a douche, so yeah, he'll say sarcastic things. Hawkeye's not funny. No. Hawkeye can be a bit of a dick, and that can be funny, but they don't all need to make quips.
No, like Black Widow, it should be, if she's saying something funny, it should be very scarce, and when she says it, it should impact you, kind of like, holy shit, did the Black Widow just make a joke?
Yeah.
It should be one of those kind of moments, like, did you just make a joke?
Yeah.
I thought Josh kind of almost nuked Black Widow's character in Age of Ultron. I think he just almost,
the Hulk romance, like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, I can't have kids, so that's why I'm a monster.
Yeah, that's like, wow, that is...
I was like, the Winter Soldier built her up so much. Like, the Winter Soldier, for me, was Captain America and Black Widow movie.
Yep.
And just what Joss done in that movie just almost teared her completely back down to being a nobody cares character.
Yeah, like just flirting with the team and all that. It's like, stop, don't write women like that. Yeah. Like... Yeah, come on. And yeah, I think it was very ignorant to make that, you know, like, I'm a monster, I can't have kids. What? Well,
how many people have you killed when you were a double agent? Like,
yeah, I think if anything makes you a monster, it's like, well, you were kind of an assassin for a bit.
You've been talking so much about the red in your ledger, and then shouldn't that be the reason why you think you're a monster?
Yeah, you know, like, I don't know. But then, you know, we had the Russo brothers come along with arguably Avengers 2.5 with Captain America Civil War, and then just Infinity War and Endgame.
Infinity War and Endgame, they're just like, they're two that I considered even having their own episode on the show for, because they're just so vast and there's so much unpacking in those movies.
Yeah.
The way they beautifully played on the audience's heartstrings. Like they drew you in and they got you excited, they got you hopeful, and then they broke your heart.
Yeah, I mean, like the one thing I do, like, okay, so Spider-Man, like you're saying, makes quips. So when he's not making quips, you realize the seriousness of the situation. And Iron Man's quippiness was gone in Infinity War and Endgame. And you realize, okay, this is serious. He's not, you know, like he's like, this is Endgame. You know, like that's, you know.
It's like, and again, like let's skip into the end of the Infinity War, like the show and how they showed Spider-Man's spider sense. Where he knew he was about to be dusted before it came.
Yeah, that because people were like, well, why did it take Peter Parker so long to go away? It's like, oh my god, you know, because he had spider sense. He knew it before it was happening.
He knew what was coming.
Why do we even have to explain that? Just enjoy the goddamn movie.
Yeah. Well, it was getting our own Midge from Love Hate.
Yeah, as Ebony Maw. That was cool, man.
And he done such a good job.
Yeah, I love that line. Like, then I'll pry it from your corpse. You know, you're like, nice. You know, like that was sick.
But then you got the Endgame. Endgame kicking off with, you know, 5 years on from the snap.
Yeah, that like it was, and like the red herring trailer, because in this age of teasers for teasers, and then 3 trailers and TV spots, if I want to go see a movie, I'll go see a movie. Yeah, a trailer will not deter or make me go see it. Yeah, if I want to see it, I say I don't need. Like I like the surprise, I like the unknown. Yeah. You know, and that's what, because they recaptured that magic. Like, remember when we were kids, like going to the cinema, there was one trailer. Yeah. And like, oh my God. And then you go and see it. But now you nearly see it. But the Russo brothers didn't do that. They purposely led us one way and then went the other way.
And it's something that they're brilliant at. It's something they've done in Infinity War. You see, they had the trailer of the Hulk busting out, like running alongside everyone. Never happened. You had the toys being released of Hulk busting out with the Hulkbuster armor. Never happened.
Nope.
You know, it was beautiful. Like they, like you said, they'd have us here looking here at their left hand, and in reality, they're doing all the work with their right hand.
Yeah.
Then in Endgame, the ending of all that big battle was just. It was something else, and hearing Cap finally say them 2 words after 10 years.
I actually have chills now with that. Like that was
even the beauty of hearing over the comms, just Sam saying on your left, just calling it right back to Winter Soldier.
Yeah. And I honestly, one of my favorite jokes in any of those movies was like, I am Groot. I am Steve Rogers. It was just that, like, that was amazing. I loved that. That was so funny. Like, it was genuinely funny.
Yeah. And even Thor, like, looking at Captain America going, yeah, see, you copied my beard.
Yeah, like, and even it, as much as, like, Thor he didn't become comedic folly. He was dealing with extreme trauma and like, oh, I'm okay. Yeah. But then the moment that trauma is mentioned, he's like, nope, don't go there. You know, like that was fantastically written as well, you know?
Well, look, if we keep going, we'll be going for the night, and unfortunately, I have to be up for work tomorrow. So, because I'll ask you one thing. Everyone has one. What is an unpopular opinion you have in terms of the Avengers?
Iron Man is not the unbeatable character everyone makes him out to be.
Okay, well, I like it. Mine would be, and I'm going to get hate for this, 90% of the time, until the recent run in the fucking, I can't remember, the Immortal Hulk, I think it is, but 90% of the time, the Hulk isn't interesting.
He's a very difficult character to get right. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like Amadeus Cho was like, hey, well, bro, I'm a fun Hulk. You know, like, no. But like, you're right. Al Ewing changed the game with that. Yeah. That run is horrifyingly amazing. And Joel Bennett's penciling, it's like David Cronenberg got a hold of the Hulk and like mixed with John Carpenter's thing. Like, I'm not going to put the artwork in like the latest issue. Lads,
I need to get back on it and check it out. So yeah, I definitely need to get back on it. Look, listen, I won't keep you. Your day is only starting over there now in the Great White North. My day is coming to an end. Listen,
The Emerald Isle.
thank you for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure to finally have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Like any time, this was a blast, and we'll maybe have to get a timer for when we're allowed to move on to the next topic, because I'd say we could keep going.
Yeah, getting an alarm bell or something. We'll have a trad tune playing every time we need to switch. I'm not sure how our listeners would like Come Out Your Black and Tans playing every time we need to change topic.
I want to leave that one alone. I'm not going to say anything about that.
I'll let you go, and I'll definitely have you back on for one of the other characters we'll be covering in the coming months.
Anytime, man. We'll looking forward to it.
Listen, thanks a million, and stay safe during COVID, and I hope all's well over there.
You too, buddy. Have a good one. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Well, good luck.
Don't freeze.
Dread it. Run from it. Destiny still arrives.
All the dinosaurs feared the T-Rex.
You are about to die in the hands of the children of Thanos. Come on, Spider-Man! Earth is closed today.
We don't want to kill you, but we will.
This is a man. There was no other way.
I don't feel so good.